Hi, my name is Kelly Thomas. I'm an assistant coach at E2MULTISPORTS. I'm also a physical therapist and an adjunct instructor. I teach biology and nutrition for college students. Today I'm going to take you through some exercises and a dynamic warm-up. Resistance training or strength training is not a recommendation when you're training for marathons or triathlons. It's a requirement. So just keep that in mind. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a dynamic warm-up. This is to prime your muscles, tendons, and joints for activity. We used to think that you should do static stretching and improve your flexibility before working out. Now the research doesn't support that. In fact, doing static stretching before a workout decreases your speed and power, not what you want to happen. So instead you're going to do this dynamic warm-up. You want to take about 10 to 15 minutes to really get your body warmed up and tuned for the exercises that you're going to do. So I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to be walking back and forth to demonstrate. Obviously you would need to do each of the exercises for a longer duration to make that 10 to 15 minutes. So the first one I'm going to show you is just walking on your toes. So this just gets your ankles warmed up, and you would just be walking on your toes. And then you can turn around on the way back and walk on your heels. Okay, the next one is called ankling, and this primes your ankles, knee joint, and hip joint, as well as helps you start working a little bit on that balance. So what you're going to do, you're going to maintain an upright posture during all of these. So don't let your chest come forward or backwards. You want to keep just your normal curve in your low back. In fact, you can place one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your back to make sure you maintain that. And all you're going to do is just like you're marching, but when your knee comes up, see my toe is also in the up position. Okay, so I'm going to just keep that. You don't want to do this, okay, and do that plantar flexion. You want to maintain good dorsiflexion. And you can vary your speed. Start slow and then increase as you continue on. The next one is very similar to the ankling, but it's walking knee hugs. So maintaining that curve in your lumbar spine, you're going to bring your knee up and then just give it a little hug towards you. If you find yourself having to lean forward, that's improper technique, and just don't worry about the knee hug so much. You want good technique. As you go. All right, so the next one again is going to be working at the ankle, the knee, and the hip joint, and call these butt kicks for lack of a better phrase. And what you're going to do is you'll bring your heel up towards your bottom and keep your knee pointed towards the ground. Okay, you should feel it in the front of your leg. If you're bringing it up like this, that's improper technique. And you'll be walking while you do this. Okay, so just heel up towards your bottom. Knees are pretty close together and as you're walking, okay? And then the next exercise, the shin grab, is very similar to that. But you'll be grabbing your shin. You can either grab it with the same hand, or if you're flexible enough, I'm obviously not, you can grab with the other hand. And you would just do that while walking. Okay. Cradling is going to help, again, mostly at the hip is where you'll feel it. And you'll be bringing your leg up and pulling on your shin straight up towards the ceiling. Okay, almost like you're sitting crisscross applesauce style. And you'll be doing that while walking. Okay, again, if your flexibility doesn't allow you to grab your shin and pull straight up, that's okay. Just do the best that you can, maintaining your upright posture. Frankenstein walk, or monster walk, is the next. And this is really going to stretch out those hamstrings, or prime them for activity. It's probably a better term than stretch. And what you'll do is you'll be bringing your leg up. You can have a slight bend in your knee, and your toe will also be pointed up. And you'll be walking. If your flexibility allows you to reach, then you can do that. But if you're having to bend your knee to touch your toe, that's improper technique. My hamstrings are not as flexible as they could be, so I would have to reach forward, and that would be improper. So I'm just going to, just like that. Welcome back. This is Kelly Thomas again with E2MULTISPORTS. The next series of exercises I'm going to show you focus on the glutes. So glute medius and glute maximus. This is for good lumbopelvic stability that you need to have during running, swimming, and even biking. So the 4 exercises that I'm going to show you, when I first start out my athletes and also my patients with these, I have them hold for 10 seconds. And that's the whole first week they're doing these, just so they can start recruiting the correct muscle fibers. So the first one I'm going to show you is the clamshell exercise. You'll be laying on the floor. You can do these on your bed, also a yoga mat. And you want good alignment from your shoulder to your hip to your ankles. So a good indication is if you're against a wall, right, and the wall is right behind you. But just for clarity's sake on this video, I'm not going to show you that. Okay, but my hip bone is pointed straight up in this position. You're going to tighten your core, and by that I mean belly button to spine, and also your lower abdominal muscles. You have to use the bathroom, but there's no bathroom around. Okay, so my hip joint is pointed up. I'm going to put my hand right here just so you can see. And you're just going to lift your top knee and hold for 10 seconds. Okay, you can shift your hand to your glute area and make sure that that muscle is activated. You don't necessarily want your hip flexor activated on this, which it would be if you weren't in a straight line. So I'm just going to hold that for 10 seconds and relax down. And you would, of course, do this exercise on both sides. And you'll notice after a while it will start to burn. And then after you've been doing it for a while, it's going to get too easy. And of course, your coach never wants anything to get too easy. A band like this, or later in this presentation, I'll show you an alternate way you can make a band. All right, but your band will just go right above the knees. And again, same setup. Shoulder, hip, and ankles in alignment. And you just lift and hold for 10 seconds on each side. And back down. All right, so that's the clam exercise. The next exercise is a bridge, and I'm going to show you a double leg bridge and then a single leg bridge. All right, so double leg bridge, you're going to start laying on your back, and you can either have your hands here for balance, or as you progress, you can move your hands to your belly or arms across your chest. I'm just going to show you arms to the side for the video. And what you'll do here, tighten your abdominals, so belly button to spine, lower abdominals tight, and then contract your glutes and lift straight up. So I should have a good line, shoulder, hip, and knee. And my weight is through my heels. Okay, you notice I even have my toes up. All right, I don't want you to push through that way because then you're using more of a hamstring. So I want your glutes activated, and then you can come down and relax, tighten again, and lift. Okay, the progression for that is going to be the single leg bridge. One leg straight, one leg bent, and lift up so that your knees are in alignment. Foot is flexed, and then push up, holding for 10 seconds, and then lower, and then of course you'd want to repeat on the other side. You don't want this, okay? You don't want your hips to drop. You want everything in good alignment. And that is your double leg and your single leg bridge. Okay, the third exercise is going to be hip extension. I'm going show you a progression of this one as well. You want to be in the quadruped position, which is going to be knees and hands. Okay, my hands are directly under my shoulders, my knees are directly under my hips. And for the first one, you're going to bring your knee up to about hip level. Your foot is dorsiflexed or just bent. And then you're kicking straight up but not rotating. Okay, so you want good alignment through here. But you'll just come up. Okay, just like that. And then a progression to that is to increase the lever arm. So straighten your leg and bring it straight up. Again, not rotating. Okay, you can even put like have your kids or family member put a broomstick across your back to make sure you're not rotating. Okay, and you'll hold that position and come down. And that's going to be the hip extension and quadruped position. The last one is going to be a side step, so I'm going to stand up for this. And for this, we also call these monster walks. And there's a few variations, I'll show those as well. But for this, you start with your feet about shoulder width apart, and you're going to push your hips back, not drop your chest. Okay, so don't push them back that far, but keep your shoulders up. Push your hips back so that the weight is on your heels and have a slight bend in your knees. Nice and tight through this area. And then you'll take a few steps to the right, a few steps to the left, maintaining that core activation. Okay, you can set a timer and do about 2 minutes on those. Of course, that's going to get too easy over time, so bring the band back. Okay, probably sit in a chair while you're trying to put this on, especially over your tennis shoes. Put it on just over the knee area, and it's going to be the same thing. So feet shoulder width apart to start. Core nice and tight, but shoulders still up and head up. None of this, none of that. Okay, good position. And side step. Okay, to each side. And again, my weight is on my heels, not on my toes. I'm not doing this. Okay, see how far forward my knees are over my toes? You know, that shouldn't be the way you perform that. The right technique is hips back, weight is on the heels, and side step. I can still see my toes if I was to look down. And I have small feet. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, what if I don't have a band? You can actually purchase these on the internet. This one's performed better. I think it was $2. So that's an option. The different colors signify different weight or resistance. Green is usually a pretty good resistance for these exercises. When you get into gray and black, it makes it really difficult. If you have a band similar to this that you can just buy at a sporting goods store, just make a loop of it. Okay, and again, you know, you just step through it. I would want to make this one a little bit tighter.